Hello everyone, and welcome back. Today, we will listen to a fascinating story called The Titanic Mystery. It is a story of dreams, tragedy, and unanswered questions. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the story. In the spring of 1912, people around the world were talking about one ship. It was called the Titanic. The Titanic was the largest passenger ship ever built. It was beautiful, luxurious, and modern. Many people believed it was impossible for the ship to sink. Newspapers called it the unsinkable ship. Thousands of people wanted to travel on it. Some passengers were rich business people and famous celebrities. Others were poor families looking for a better life in America. On April 10, 1912, the Titanic left England on its first voyage to New York City. More than 2,000 people were on board. At first, everything was perfect. The weather was pleasant and the sea was calm. Passengers enjoyed delicious meals, music, and dancing. A young man named Thomas was also on the ship. Thomas was not rich. He was a school teacher from England. He had saved money for many years because he wanted to start a new life in America. He carried only one suitcase and a small notebook. Every night, he wrote about his journey. On the first day, he wrote, "This ship is like a floating palace. I think my future begins here." Thomas made friends with another passenger named Emily. Emily was a young woman traveling alone to meet her family in New York. She loved reading books and often spent hours on the deck looking at the sea. One evening, Emily said, "Do you really believe this ship cannot sink?" Thomas smiled. "I don't know," he said. "No machine is perfect." Emily laughed. "You are the first person to say that." As the days passed, the Titanic moved quickly across the Atlantic Ocean. But far ahead, something dangerous was waiting. The ship's radio operators received several warnings from other ships. They said there were many icebergs in the area. Some of these warnings never reached the captain. Others were not taken seriously. The passengers knew nothing. They continued to eat, dance, and enjoy their journey. On the evening of April 14th, the sea became strangely calm. The sky was full of stars. There was no moon. The water looked dark and silent. Thomas could not sleep. He went outside and looked at the sky. Emily joined him. "It is so quiet," she said. "Too quiet," Thomas replied. At that exact moment, two sailors were watching the sea from the front of the ship. Suddenly, one of them saw something. An iceberg, straight ahead. He rang the warning bell 3 times. The officers immediately tried to turn the ship, but it was too late. The iceberg scraped along the side of the Titanic. At first, many passengers did not even notice the collision. Some people felt a small vibration. Others continued playing cards and drinking tea. But below the deck, icy water rushed into the ship. The Titanic's designers soon realized the terrible truth. The ship was going to sink. The captain ordered the crew to prepare the lifeboats. However, there was another problem. There were not enough lifeboats for everyone. Panic slowly began to spread. Passengers were told to put on life jackets. Many people still believed there was no real danger. Some even refused to enter the lifeboats. Thomas and Emily stood together on the deck. "What should we do?" Emily asked. Thomas looked around. "We must stay calm." The crew shouted, "Women and children first!" Emily was told to enter a lifeboat, but she did not want to leave. "And you?" she asked. "I'll find another boat," Thomas said. Emily looked frightened. "You promise?" Thomas smiled. "I promise." She finally stepped into the lifeboat. As it slowly moved away, she looked back and saw Thomas standing on the deck. That was the last time she saw him. The Titanic continued sinking. The front of the ship disappeared beneath the water. People cried and prayed. Some tried to jump into the freezing ocean. The ship's musicians continued playing music to keep people calm. Then, in the early hours of April 15, 1912, the Titanic broke apart. Within minutes, the great ship disappeared beneath the sea. The ocean became silent again. Hundreds of people were trapped in the freezing water. The temperature was so cold that many died within minutes. Far away, another ship called the Carpathia received the Titanic's distress signals. It rushed through the night to help. When it arrived, it found only lifeboats and a field of ice. More than 1,500 people had died. Only around 700 survived. Emily was among the survivors. When she reached New York, she carried with her one painful memory.
she had never seen Thomas again. Months later, newspapers published stories from the survivors. People around the world were shocked. How could the unsinkable ship,